So, Bobby Wallace, and by the way, when I'm done with my introductions, then Bobby will be doing the land acknowledgement, so we'll go right into that. But Bobby Wallace is a member of the Barona Band of Mission Indians and a long-time environmental and social justice activist in San Diego County. He was at Standing Rock 5 times to protest the Keystone Pipeline and participated 4 times in the longest walk from San Francisco to DC to raise awareness about drug abuse and domestic violence. Along with Lakeside community members, he brought the El Monte Valley sand mining project to a standstill. We're going to hear more about that tonight. And he is active in protecting the Tijuana River, among many other environmental issues. Bobby always walks the walk, attending multiple protests, rallies, and hearings. Most recently, he was in the San Diego City Council chambers with a Kumeyaay flag when they formally recognized that the city sits on unceded Kumeyaay land in a move intended to honor the resilience of the native inhabitants of the land. So thank you so much, Bobby, for coming. All right, and Sarahmarie Llyemewaa, do I have that right? Llyemewaa, close. Redfern is a Kumeyaay Ipai Tepai mother from also the Barona Band of Mission Indians. Sarah is a steward of the earth and believes in the preservation of Indigenous culture for future generations. She is an activist and speaks to those issues around San Diego. And as you can see also, she's very young, so I think you'll be hearing a lot more about her as things unfold. And Sarah, we are delighted that you could come. And then our moderator is Reverend Dr. Beth Johnson, who is a minister, activist, and public theologian. She is currently the minister of the Unitarian Church of Hinsdale in the western suburbs of Chicago. She served in San Diego County for over 18 years as minister of Palomar Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Vista and in the wider community on intersectional issues, including immigration, worker and racial justice, as well as environmental justice and liberation for Palestine. She serves on the board of Alliance San Diego and is on the coordinating committee of the Illinois Poor People's Campaign. And Beth was also the chairperson of ICEJ for almost all of our history, from our founding in 2017 until just a year and a half ago. Well, she moved to, I don't know, I guess not greener pasture, a little greener.
Greener.
Yeah, greener. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, it's good. Chicago's a good city. So thank you so much, Beth, for agreeing to moderate this. And I will pass it over to Bobby. So Bobby, you've got a mic there.
Yes. Beth, thank you.
Yes.
Hey, you guys. Helga, it's good to be here with all you guys. To sit down and be able to talk about things that I think all of us should talk about. And that's the truth. I've heard people say that the land acknowledgement should be done by those who travel here. I don't believe that. I believe I need to pay my people that have been cremated, burned, and are buried in their bones and their stuff. I should say it, because those are my people. Maicha, thank you for giving us this day to be alive, to see one another in our eyes, and to have the strength to talk about these things that are real in this world. One of the greater for all the ancestors that are right here, right around us, because our people have been here so long, they're here. I want to pray to all the gods of Mother Earth and farther. I want to pray for Mother Earth and everything about Mother Earth and the things we see and also the things we don't see. I want to pray for all the people, every person I love every person. I want to pray for them all, including the bad ones, because they need prayers more than all of us. Last, want to pray to ourselves so we can push on, keep doing good things, to tweak the future a little bit better for all of us and the people that are coming. No what? Thanks, you guys.
Hello.
Hey.
Let's breathe for a second.
Oh, that feels good.
Yeah, y'all want to take a breath with me? Just remembering that the breath connects us to everything that ever was. As we breathe in oxygen molecules that have been at one time or another in the lungs of every breathing being for billions of years. Breathing in and out, the breath connects us to one another here, to all living things, all breathing things, and everything is alive, connects us to all that right now. Breathing in, and then on the exhale makes us ancestors for all who will come. So beloveds, whenever you realize that you're breathing, because the miracle is that the breath breathes us, some call the breath spirit. Whenever you realize and remember that you're breathing, we get to remember who and whose we are. And that is really, really, truly what brings us here today, isn't it? To remember, to hear the truth, to imagine possibilities for our earth, and most importantly, for our support of the Kumeyaay people here in San Diego. And San Diego is a construct, right? San Diego is a manufactured border. So we're here to hear about how we can support and what we can do. And Bobby, one of the things I really appreciated is that your willingness to pray even for the bad ones, because they need our prayers. It's a beautiful spirit. Thank you. Now, Bobby and Sarah, we heard your bios, but I wonder if there's, as we get started, if there's anything else you'd like us to know about you. And then we'll go into some of our formal questions and see where those questions take us. Is there anything else you'd like us to know about who you are and the work that you do in this world?
I think woman power must go first.
There we go.
One thing I really wanted to touch on is being a mom and having children, and growing up in a world where we've kind of abused the earth. And I think now as a society we're changing, as a civilization we're changing to where we recognize there's repercussions to the last 100 years and what we've done to the earth. And so now being able to be a mom and teach my kids, like, we have to take care of this planet. And I'm sorry, I'm a little bit nervous, but raising children to love the earth and continuing to raise them in a way that honors my ancestors before me. But also, I think something that's important to recognize is, apart from being a Native American woman, I'm also a human being just like all of you. And it really doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, you can take the time to care for the earth and to teach that and to keep teaching that in younger generations. And I think I'll touch a little bit more about the generations to come, but for me, being a mom and raising kids to love the planet is so important, and I just wanted to highlight that. If you're a grandparent or if you are a parent, just continuing to teach that in kids is so important.
Thank you.
Awesome.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Let me see. For me, it started, life started really hard. Foster kid, abused. but which led me on the trail actually to where I'm at today, because at one time, I think I was 15 or 16, we went to Klamath Falls and I met one of the most famous natives, great grandson, I thought. My cousin thought it was granddaughter, a famous leader by the name of Chief Joseph. And these two people had told me something, and I was a mess up kid, and they told me I'd do a lot of good things for the people. And, you know, I think about that a lot, and I know that the people means everyone. It doesn't mean just us natives. You know, detaching from myself from being a native guy to a native person to being just a human actually is rewarding. You know, it's a different feeling, and I acknowledge that I'm French, Dutch, and Swedish also. You know, blonde hair, red hair, blue eyes, Vikings. You know, masters of a ship called the Archangel in the 1600s for the King of England. You know, so I have a mix, but you know what they told me was so important, and it's resonated with me through my whole life. And the childhood I had to live, it had to be that way in order to fulfill a so-called destiny, which maybe I'm living right now. I mean, there's wonderful things happening. We still see all the shenanigans going around, or all the bad stuff going on in this world, but you know, like being able to raise our flag at Southwestern College for all the Southwest colleges, and Mesa colleges for all the city colleges, and San Diego Unified for the whole district. And we're gonna put it up at the fair on Sunday. And this person right here, Sarah, I've known her a long time. Man, you know, I'm quite older than her, but I seen a fire in her some time ago, and I said, hey, you know, do you want to, you know, well, I asked her a couple of things. Do you want to go to the wall? And she was there in the heat, stopping those guys from building the wall. And I could see the fire in her eyes. Then for the sand mining, asked her, and she was there. And not very many younger people accept that responsibility. And I'm glad you're here. And she's a mom, she has kids, and they need to go to bed at a certain time, you know, but you know, she's here, and you know, that makes me proud. I'm a proud Native person to another Native person, and but we all should feel proud about each and every one of our value systems, regardless if you're white, if you're black, or if you're whatever, Asian, Mexican, it doesn't matter, because we need to pull ourselves from within this little hole that we keep going down, and it keeps getting worse, and we keep going down. And you know, who's Googled what the population's gonna be in 10 more years, and how many babies per day, and how many people die? Those are overwhelming numbers, and I do it like every 6 months, and I'm like, man, how are we gonna get through this? You know, for my people, we're wiped out to about 700 at one point in time in history. Now we're at 4,250. But we're gonna keep growing. You know, by getting back to the spiraling down, the way we used to think, and from what I was told, you know, because it comes from mouth to mouth to mouth, and that's how you learn things, you know. We would be one with, let's say, that little mustache, and I picked it, and mustard, right? And I ate it. And then we just traveled around and traveled back around, and from the ocean to the desert, you know, and did our things. But there was a footstep, or there was a I would like to call it an energy source to where we were being very close to that plant, the one we picked and our children picked from the same plant. It's like the rabbits, they had babies and our family fed, on those things, and there was something that was so in tune with Mother Earth. It's those kind of things that I think regenerative is like so huge. But we need to get closer, and we need to start opening up our minds. We need to start thinking about these things that really matter, other than the things like what's in my back pocket, cell phone, or whatever, or something like that, Beth, I know you have a stringlet of questions, so.
You really have guided us into really the first kind of, and I knew that I could come with questions, but I also have absolute confidence in both of you that the flow and what needs to be shared with among us is going to be shared.
Yes.
Whether we get to every question on my list, which aren't that many because I wanted to give you lots of space. And you actually already started talking about the first thing that we'd said that we would mention is describing, I do want to say this. I want to say that I'm very proud of the Interfaith Coalition for Earth Justice for the commitment that has been made to have these dialogues and to do more than talk.
Sure.
So I wanted to say that because our commitment has been care for the rest of nature. I always say the rest of nature because I am nature. In the words of the poet Susan Griffin, I am nature seeing nature. I am nature with a concept of nature. And so that brings me, and you were getting close to the question, the first question that I had for you all, which is, how do you not only describe, because there's words, and then there's embody. How do you describe and embody your relationship with Mother Earth, the rest of nature, in your tradition? So what does it look like? How do you describe it? What are practices that you bring to your expression of your connection with Mother Earth?
Woman power first.
Probably one that sounds a little funny and maybe even a little generic is I strive for sustainability. So with that, a super simple way that I do that is with my kids. I put snacks in reusable containers, and that's it. I refuse to buy any throwaway plastics, one-time uses, and for myself, I just think that teaching my kids that, and then teaching even their friends that, other people that come into my home, it's a way for me that I'm making sure that I'm not making the environment a worse place. I'm not adding to trash, I'm not adding to litter. And then I hope that it rubs off on my kids one day and they remember, oh, my mom never used plastic, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna use reusable things. And it goes back into just culturally and like what my parents instilled in me was that we always needed to make sure that we took care of the planet because it's gonna, one day we'll die and it will keep going as long as we take care of it, and other people need it too, not just us. So even doing something small like that, I feel like helps me connect to taking care of the planet. And then other ways that I try to be sustainable is by using like less energy, so like less electricity, doing things that I feel like in my own mind, like conserving water, having a yard that isn't super green grass, but it meshes well with the environment around me. We're in a more of a desert climate, so sticking with that. That's something I like to do.
My grass is the same way. Dead. At one point in time, I had green grass, and it was really nice, and, nobody talked about drought, but I'm like, there's something going on. It hasn't rained in a long time, and I just let it all go, those things that you can instill, that were brought to you, and then you can do to your kids, and those are very, very smart things, because not that many people are doing it, and sometimes people think, oh, what, all your lights on, what's going on, or something, people leave their lights on, people, just throw plastic bottles everywhere. For me, going back to being symbiotic with, I touched on, my love of the people. I don't think there's enough real love in this world going around right now. I think all of us are so far away of what we're supposed to be. To find anything true, I think you have to love yourself. You have to love the earth. You have to love the bugs. You have to love the plants. You have to love the rock brothers and the tree brothers. To me, it's like everything's alive. I see this hill over here may be different than everybody else, because to me, I can see that plant and I can see the roots. You guys see the plants, maybe you just see dirt or other plants around it. But I see it differently, and I don't know, it's just an acquired weirdness or something. But I do, that's something that I see, and having that symbiotic relationship with everything around you, and that includes all human beings too, because we can't exclude our fellow earth crashers, from this. No, we're the worst thing that's happening to this planet. What was it, 1878 in Pennsylvania, when they found the best stuff ever? Oil. I think it's a number somewhere around in there, real close, and look where we are now. Fossil fuels, extractions of everything, toilet to drinking water, a lot of stuff going on out there. But I think being a little symbiotic is great. And stories that go along with that too. Can I tell a story?
Please do. We're looking at, what from your tradition can you share with us and the stories that you have that bring us into that?
A lot of it too is like cosmology and time and rotation and all this cool stuff. And we had went to the regatta. I got called by the chief of the Mojave tribe. No, got called by Larry, a lead singer, to come because the chief said, can Bobby come out? So I'm all like, oh heck yes. So I was cutting willow for the gathering. I left big piles there for everybody to use. And then I split. And I went out to Fort Mojave. And the thing is the no regatta. Anybody ever heard of that? Where everybody jumps on inner tubes of bullhead and floats all the way down the river, and everybody's getting drunk all day, smoking cigarettes or doing whatever in the water, and then when the water recedes, you can totally see it on the banks. So I'm like, yes, I'm going. So me, my Aunt Sylvia, Chief Harry, and what was her name? Leslie, I think. We went out there, and they had the meeting the night before, and everybody was talking about it. What are we gonna do? And I think there were some infiltrators in there saying, just go pop their tires, go pop their tires. And I almost had enough where I, couldn't stand it anymore. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so long story short, then the Mojave ladies started getting on those guys and then ended up leaving. And then the next morning we got there, before the sun came up, we could see a little bit. We put sage on all the corners. And I took Standing Rock staff with me, and we were on the southwest corner, and apparently people were flipping kids off and stuff, but the day before, it was like 115 or something, and we were protesting all four corners, because it's kind of like a circle. And then, people were saying, oh, Indian this, Indian that, Indian this. And the ones that I could talk to, I just told them, don't worry about it, we're doing what we're supposed to do. And Larry, he was singing straight across, singing, our songs, because we're from the human-speaking people. We share like language and song and stuff like that for big territory. So we got done. We walked down the walkway, that bridge that goes across to Laughlin. We were on the bridge and they were cussing at us, trying to squirt us with water. We ended up going back up, and Larry wanted to sing the victory song. He brought it, man. And we were all singing, and then we got done with the song, and then it blew up, like the heat. And before that, it was like 102 or something. It was really, really strange. So we had to go back because my aunt didn't bring her diabetic medicine and change of clothes, and they offered us a place, but no, we gotta go. So we went back, and a few hours later, it's getting like this. And then Chief Harry and I started talking about all the wondrous things we've saw across this Turtle Island, like miracle kind of stuff, you guys, like stuff in front of bunches of people. And apparently, come about this time or maybe a little bit later, a freak storm, they call it the Ooch, came up and over the dam, and the wrath of heck came on everybody. And there was lightning, struck the Colorado River Bell, shut out power in Bullhead and Laughlin. And can you imagine, after squirting on them Indians, you're on the river somewhere and lightning's going off, and then you have to get off and rattlesnakes everywhere, So all these people climbed on the sides, and there was no power in Laughlin. There was no AC, no nothing. So a whole bunch of those people had to go to the AV, which is the Indian casino, because they had power. They had the power. But this is a true story. So talking about like spiritual stuff and being symbiotic, and there was no forecast of anything, nothing. And it just, the wrath of the Creator came upon those guys, and it came up for a vote the next year, and they said, no. They said, no, we don't want this again. And I'm not saying that we're anything special, I'm just saying that belief systems and being close to what you love and the water is so special. Like, water to me is like my sister. I ran across from the corner of Maine and Canada to here, California, Mexico, in a prayer. Some say it's crazy, but no, it's not, because that's just what some of us do. And that's my story. That's one of them. And if you don't believe it, I know there's some of you, just Google the storm over Laughlin and Bullhead. And scare the crud out of everybody. Yeah, it's the truth,
Thanks for sharing that story. Do you have a story you want to share, Sarah?
I don't think I could match that.
Give it time.
You can, I know.
Yeah. And, one of the questions was about becoming an earth activist, but I'm really seeing that it doesn't sound like it was a moment when you went, oh, I think I'll be an earth activist. it sounds like what I'm hearing from each of you was that it was a natural extension of living your tradition as Kumeyaay people. Is that right? And do you have anything else that you would say about that, either of you?
So growing up, my dad always told me that we were Mati Pai, which means earth people, or people from the earth. And so I've always kind of had that belief and that knowledge that I came from the earth. And he would tell me all the different names of different areas of San Diego that were called like dark earth or wet earth, and now they're called like La Jolla or things like that. So I've always known that I came from here, my people came from here, and then an innate thing that was in me was the love of the earth, because I do believe that the earth was created and it was gifted to humans. Whether you believe that's God or you just call that being the creator, but knowing that the earth was created and given to us and our creation story as Kumeyaay people, that always made me just believe that the earth is something that's a gift that we need to take care of, that needs to be protected and respected. And so hearing my dad say that we're people from the earth and believing that the earth was created and gifted to us always just resounded in me, and I will always stand for something that benefits the earth and benefits the people that also are of the earth.
Awesome. And it's true, you know, I know her dad real well, and Billy does too. You know, we're all Lakeside people, and we've known each other forever, and you know, we all know the history, you know, the mountains and our people. We really did at one time just go back and forth, you know, come down this way, and there was villages all around here, and you know, right even down towards where the Tijuana River estuary is coming out of those big clam beds and everything. And you know, there was so much food, but we really never did like consume to where you're full. You know, our people lived well over 100 years because we were always moving. We were always taking in what we need, a little bit here, a little bit there, and then just keep moving, and then we'd get maybe to showy time or something, and you know, showy's an acorn mush. But there's always like a respect thing too of taking something and giving back. So, there's a plant, it looks like a little onion. I think they're called blue balls, I think. And, you know, the bigger ones you can actually kind of get in there and pull out, but you leave the littler ones because the water will go in there better next time and they'll get bigger. And, you know, the plants are like, there's a red berry that you're not supposed to actually be loud to or buy because it might pull some of its stuff back in from the berry, you know, and all these things were a learned thing. It just didn't happen. I mean, we're the people that have been here for 12,000 years or more. The Shoshone people started coming in from north, you know, and we had the Aztecs coming in, but I mean, how many people that you know are from somewhere for 12,000 years? And when they were doing the 56, I don't know if you guys ever heard, but they found a spear point inside a mastodon. Now, we were expert spear makers. So they found a spear point, and that was like 120,000 years ago or something. So the migrations of the peoples, and I don't know if by the whole migration we migrated here, because you know, my whole thought process changed when I found out about the spearhead in there. Beth, more questions?
No,
Please.
thank you. You're really getting to, we're gonna have some questions about what justice looks like. But to stay on this for just a little bit, you're really talking about a worldview, a way of inhabiting a worldview, as opposed to, I mean, we all have worldviews, right? Ideas that we have about the world. What I'm hearing is that you inhabit your worldview in a way that locates you so inextricably connected with the rest of nature. And that has informed your activism. That's what it sounds like for both of you, right? It's some folks come to activism from recognizing our oneness with everything. Some politically, some we come to it in a variety of ways, but what I'm hearing is it's a natural outpouring. It's a natural response to seeing the harm. And also, what strikes me is feeling the love, right? That it comes from love, and it comes from knowing not being separate, and that speaks to the love that you talked about having for ourselves and then for the rest of nature, for Mother Earth. So are there aspects of your activism that you can talk about from that lens, from the lens of we're going to get to some of the particulars. You know, you were in Standing Rock. I was there once. It was transformative for me, and you were there 4 times. You stayed there. I want to talk some about what that experience was like for you in that place with those people during that time. And then Sarah, maybe you too, if you have an experience that comes through the lens of what it's like to bring yourself to this. Not, I think some of us maybe come from indignation, and there is that, but unless I'm projecting, it feels like it comes from this deep connection and this deep love.
It is a deep love. For me, starting back with the first thing, in Klamath Falls, and those people saying that to me, which, by the way, I didn't finish the story. I went back the next day with my cousin, and they were gone, and there was no sign of the fire, no sign of tracks or nothing. It was like they just disappeared. So starting there and moving on through life and seeing the way things just are going with the planet and being asked to help in all the right settings, with something inside telling me, man, this is really chuck messed up, and things are really messed up. I sometimes think about it's so messed up, and I look at the oak trees and I see the big long rows of them, and our people used to plant those thinking 400 years ahead, and they're not in rows just because, you guys. Seeds didn't just drop out of the sky. No, the seeds were planted, just like I'm seeing bunch of little seedlings right now just coming up from all the water, the rain, and it's a deep connection. And Standing Rock, going there 5 times, actually 6. I went there to fulfill an obligation to a promise to a great leader. So I was there and saw what happens when you try to step out of bounds. It's rough, it's hard. Being shot with the river bullet, I don't feel it right now, so I guess I'm good. Or mace in your lungs or whatever they were dropping, or the L-wrap gun that kind of penetrated me. But these are things that we should not be scared of. These are things that we need to press on through in this time in history. Because if we don't make change and stand strong with our beliefs, this planet, our people are gonna be extinct. And that's just the size of it. That's what I think. While everybody's fighting down here, maybe up there we'll have a little bit more time eating bugs and killing rabbits like our people have done before. You know? I mean, we were symbiotic with everything. We utilized everything. We didn't need to eat to get gorged, you know? So the question, you know, yeah, I feel it deep, like so deep. Just like I was talking about, like seeing roots. It's just the way I see it. Not everybody's gonna see and grasp onto it, but maybe somebody here might look at the mountains a little different, you know, maybe.
All right, I'm gonna do a check with Phil. How are we doing?
It's about 11 minutes off, so we could probably go a little past 8 with
Okay.
this part.
Okay, give me a nod then. Yeah, because I'm time. Time. You know, we have it and then we run out of it, and I'm glad we're sharing this time together. We'll get to the, I guess I wonder if you have an imagination for what could be for the Kumeyaay people, because I'm of a mind that, you know, obviously what happens to one happens to all, but the preservation of your people and Indigenous people everywhere is essential for the preservation of the rest of humanity. And I mean Indigenous people are all around the world. And what we see now is this deep understanding that often looks like appropriation, but that people really do understand that our ways, the ways that we're currently living is not only unsustainable, but it is soul killing. So do you have an imagination for what could be? Both of you.
I guess I just really hope for an environment that, I mean, quite frankly, that the earth will last for another 2 or 3 generations. I hope that our kids and my children and children after mine can sustain the earth and can keep it going, and not only sustain, because I think that we aim for sustainability, but also to make it better and to maybe even return it to a state that it was 200 years ago. The United States was like 400 years ago, as far as, you know, removing invasive plant species, invasive animal species, things that are killing the natural environment. But yeah, that's kind of what the best thing I could hope for my kids is that the earth is better, and that it keeps going.
Man, so deep too, and you know, everything what you said is true, and you know what she said is like a few generations, and that's like a realistic thing, you know. Does anybody notice like 80 degrees feels like 92 when you're in the sun? And it's different. You get burned more easy. The mountains, I remember living in Viejas. Should it be like overcasty and like drizzly, like, man, it seemed like all winter, you know. Now the sun's out, just beating everything down, and just because we had, you know, water for a year, everybody's like, oh, as it's coming out of the dams, going into the Pacific Ocean with trash in it, you know. Yeah, seriously, what she said is realistic, I think, and I never really thought of just a few generations. I'm thinking like 100 years, or 200 years, but yeah, I think you're right. I think, if a generation's 20, 60 years, 50 years, the tipping point, we're past it, I think. I'm sure we have some scientific people here that know that we're past the point of no return, but I don't think so. The earth finds a way to regenerate itself and heal itself. Take the fires, for instance. The fire that guy started at Witch Creek, oh man, they just ripped through everywhere here in San Diego. I don't know if everybody can remember it. Do you guys remember it? It was horrible. It caused major blackouts. We had people robbing and had just like chaos. But one thing I learned from that, I learned from a little rabbit. So I had an old truck, and that dang truck is still sitting there, and I'm saying I'm gonna fix it up one day. So these 2 or 3 rabbits ran under it, and the fire didn't burn anywhere close, but the fire toasted everything around. And thank the Creator, I take care of the brush and stuff, right? But I saw them run in there, and I'm like, wow. So when baby time came, I saw massive babies. Just loads and loads of babies everywhere. So was it, the regeneration of a population of not just those that went under there, but the ones that were able to burrow down deep and be able to survive with no oxygen, or something. So that's like another little thing, the mother did. Now we have so many rabbits. There's like there's so many. They're little. Yeah, there's so many, and but yeah, it's I think those special kind of things will happen, but it takes human beings in caring, and again, caring for one another and one another's ideas, their intellect, because somebody might think, man, that sounds like so weird, but you never know, like, shoot, man, somebody might come up with the fix-all for everything, So we try not to doubt too many people. We try to understand, be more empathetic with people, regardless of who you are and what you are. Yeah, that's all we are. We're just like a ball of energy with all this stuff on us. That's it. Yeah, really, that's what I think. I don't know if that kind of sums it up.
It does. It's interesting because there are some folks, maybe in the deep ecology movement and others, other places who feel like humanity is the blight and Earth would be better without humans. I'm hearing something different from you, and I'm hearing you say that humans have a role. And so that's an important perspective, and I appreciate that. We're going to talk about...
What if we do the sand mines and then like justice from the U.S. government, what that would look like?
Sure. Let's do that. Come on up. Billy is going to come up. We're going to have you introduce yourself. And then go ahead, Billy. We're going to talk about...
Wild man.
Not wild. Pretty tame.
No, I'll get it there.
What is it?
The metal container. Yeah. That's okay, sister. Okay, see this? This will last forever. Yeah.
So we're going to pivot a little bit to bring us kind of into this time, this place, this opportunity to hear more about the sand mine. And Billy, you know a lot about that, we're going to ask you to introduce yourselves, and then we'll talk about that and see how, and then if we do get to some other questions, we can follow up. But go ahead.
Man, you guys really heated this mic up.
My name is Billy Ortiz. I'm 65 years old. I was raised and grew up in Lakeside. That's just close to Barona. If you're familiar with El Monte Valley or El Capitan Reservoir from that area out there, you can kind of see El Cap Mountain from San Diego. So that area out there. I kind of came from a different direction. You talk about had plants you picked and ate. I grew up planting seeds. I grew up on a farm in Lakeside, and we planted vegetables and we'd send them to the markets every year. So my love for the earth stemmed from planting seeds. And so everything around us became, something that I really enjoyed: plants, trees, hiking. Turn into a wild mountain man, like Bobby says. I get lost up in the mountains. I just go and go, and I'm a photographer. So I like to photograph, life, plants, animals, people, and especially the landscape, because that's what gives me my energy is, just looking at the earth. It's so beautiful. I mean, how can you not love it? And even people talk about that Lakeside just burned out, high desert, whatever, but if you look close like I do, you see so many things. And what I do is through my photography, I capture the images and I put it on social media. I have this big platform, and people really enjoy seeing what's really out there in the hills, in the neighborhood, in our communities, and the people too.
Thank you. So we were going to talk about the sand mine project and its impact on the community. And so do you want to say something about that? And then we can talk about what can be done and how we can support, because it might be something new that folks don't know that's happening.
It's kind of complicated and it's a big mess. There's a lot involved. There's some very powerful people that are spearheading it, and apparently they have a lot of money because they came back to do it again. It's El Monte Valley. Like I said, if you look out from San Diego, you see a big mountain out there, a big rock. That's El Cap Mountain. At the foot of that is El Monte Valley, and it's all river bottom. It's approximately about, maybe 1,000 acres from the dam to about Ashwood or the school where development begins. And half of that is owned by an industrial guy who wants to extract some 40 feet below ground surface down some 12.5 million tons of sand out of there, which will completely decimate the valley. They're not going to mine the entire 500 acres, but probably about half of that. And they say that they will go down to no further than 41 feet and will never penetrate in the water. We were talking about the water gets wasted going into the ocean. Well, I think the county did the opposite. I think they released the water so that the water table would come up in the valley, because now it's like 10 feet. So how are they going to sand mine and not go below the water? Actually, they can't right now. Technically, they can't, because that's what the plan says they're going to do. And it's going to take, they claim, a 12-year period with an extended time of 4 years, roughly 479 acres. 228 of that acres will be mined, 35 to 41 feet. They can't utilize the groundwater. It's protected by the public water rights that the city owns. The city says that they won't provide water, will not let them drill a hole and pump water out. But there is a water utility company up there, Helix Water District, who voted on it, and they voted yes, we will provide the water for them because we don't want to get sued. So they have to, they're kind of forced into it. They could have said no. I would have said no. I would have voted no. Don't fire me, I don't care. Vote no. They have 3 different plans. One is for, I believe it was 14 years to go deeper. The third one is 12 years and they go to 41 feet. And then the alternative plan is 0 project. There's actually an alternative plan that they won't mine at all, and that's what we're hoping for. But we have to influence a lot of people, particularly the County Board of Supervisors, because ultimately they will have the vote. I have faith that they'll do the right thing for the land and the environment, and they've showed that in the past when they purchased, was it 101 acres?
Yeah.
What we marched for, it was 101 acres. They protected indefinitely 101 acres at the mouth of the valley so that they can't, so that the miners, I believe, so that the miners can't use that as the entrance way. They have to go around. So I have faith that they're gonna do the right thing, but you never know how the political world's gonna go. That's kind of it in a nutshell. The other thing is that the man's name is Bill Adams, and he's tried it before. He started in 2002. He went into a lease contract with Helix Water District, who owned the land at the time, to lease, I think it was some 200 and some acres to build 2 golf courses, 2 18-hole golf courses. But while they were doing that, they were stealing sand. Helix Water District caught them, and they ended up in court, lawsuit for probably about 12 years. Eventually Helix pulled it over and said, okay, we're done, take the land, you can have it for $9 million, do whatever you want with it. So Bill Adams ended up coming up with the $9 million to pay for this land, so now he owns it since 2017. During this whole course of events, Diane Jacob, when she was seat of the East County Board of Supervisors, her county planning commissioner, who she assigned, was part of the sand miners team he was a proponent of the sand mine. He's been helping them all along. Fast forward again, Bill Adams ended up going bankrupt. He almost lost the land. And this Michael Beck, who's a renowned conservationist, which doesn't make any sense to me why a conservationist would want to destroy a place, the environment, the land, the sand, the filter of the water, the life-giving water. He wants to destroy that. Wrote a letter to the bankruptcy judge and to release Bill Adams from the bankruptcy so he could go forward with the project, and that's where they're at right now. So they're poised to start the EIR process again. All the letters that we wrote, missing. Who knows where they went? Can't find them nowhere.
What is EIR?
It's an environmental impact report that has to be filed by the person who's doing the project to show, to get a chance to show what the project's gonna be about. Goes to the county sends it back to the public. We write our concerns in letters and mail them to the county, and they have to read every single one of them. We had probably about 160 big stack of letters like this that are still sitting there because they ran out of money to read them all. And any deep concerns like endangered species like birds, snakes, whatever, they have to mitigate for all that. There's valley fever in the valley. I know because I got it there. It's in a place where I shouldn't be, and I got punished, and I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm really sorry.
It's all
I'll
right.
never do that again. But, it happened. I got punished. I'm pretty sure I've seen the spirits of your ancestors having a talk with you one day. When I had a really bad fever from this, and that could kill you. If you don't take care of valley fever, it will kill you. If you don't catch it soon enough, you take medicine the rest of your life. I was treated for 6 months, and it took me almost 2 years to get well, back to where I was. So there's a huge, huge potential for this dust to come up, go in the lakeside, the schools, animals can get it, dogs, horses, people, especially people with darker skin, is what the research said when I looked it up. And these people are willing to release this valley fever into the lungs of children, senior citizens, the community of Lakeside. It'll go out Santee, El Cajon, and the wind will blow it to Alpine. And then of course there's the pollution that the vehicles, I guess the carbon footprint, is just gonna be hovering over the valley because it's a steep valley. Their initial EIR project report had so many lies in it. They claimed that the land was flat, the roads and the trucks were gonna take were flat. Everything is steep, super steep. Everything's gonna stay in there. Noise, pollution, valley fever is gonna spread with the wind. Santa Ana can blow all the way down here or all the way to Alpine and other places. So what to do now is we have to figure out how to convince this conservationist, Michael Beck is his name, that he's doing the wrong thing. He needs to be on the other side of the fence and say, no, this is bad for the land, because what they're really doing is killing the land. That's what they're doing. They're killing the land, and in doing so, they're killing us. So we have to stop them somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, I was on the flip side, as you would say. So that guy, Michael Beck, okay, so I was vice president of Santee Lakeside Pop Warner. Some guy told me, hey man, come to this meeting or we're gonna lose. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're all, what we want to do is we want to make sure the San Diego River gets clean. I'm like, okay, I mean, who am I? So I went over there and talked to these people at the school on the north side of the river. So I went over there and I was talking to these guys and I came up with an idea like, why don't we get all the youth in Santee and Lakeside to like have all their boards sign pieces of paper saying, you know, we need no commercial construction along the San Diego River. And so we had like tons of youth organizations, AYSO, all the baseball, softballs, biking, all of them, and supported this. So I started working with this Michael Beck, and our vision was to have a walkway starting at the dam and go all the way down to the ocean. And I mean, it was so great, and we worked with Tom Higginson for Let's Play, and where those fields are, you know, right below the Tank Mountain.
Yeah.
Anyways, and we were fighting against Lakeside Land Company because all that was supposed to be like very dirty commercial stuff. We ended up winning. Hanson donated that piece of land, and you know what, the Swan right by it, they donated that big piece of land that was going to get restored, and I don't think nothing's happened. But Michael Beck, you know, to me, being such a conservationist in talking about things, you know, to me, I think he was thinking of an end goal to where he could actually profiteer off of things in the valley, like the sand mining. So he was setting it all up. We ended up, Lakeside Land ended up putting these SWIP things, and as you were driving down the freeway, you could see them excavating. And what they were excavating, we don't know. But they took it out of the ground, which is probably big canisters of oil or toxins or something, because the San Diego River used to be one of the most toxic. They took all that stuff out of the ground, they cleaned it up, graded it up. And I had moved on to other things, and then came to where They were talking about the desecration of our sacred sites further down in the valley. When I talked to Sarah about this, she feels the same way as I do. And I don't know if you guys saw the picture of the guys pulling the head up. Did you guys see that picture? So our people used to use the San Diego River. That's an actual gateway to the Four Corners. And I've walked it before all the way to SY, San Isabel. After the witch fire, I walked down it, and you could see where the villages were. It was almost like a road. You could actually almost drive on, but with the ruts and stuff. But so working with Michael Beck, he sounded so true, but again, I think he was looking to where he's at right now. So he's partnered up with heavy hitters and became friends and, agreed to this and I'll do this. Everything's a quid pro quo. Which brings me to a call and a text, and it was from Bill Adams. And I don't want to get sued for slander or anything, but I will tell you, what do you do with your biggest adversary? You either shoot him or the other thing, just kidding. But, I talked to him, and then he wanted to go sit down for breakfast and talk about things. And I said, okay, maybe. And then he was sending me texts, hey, what about our breakfast? And this is the last time, or whatever. And I haven't responded. And I think that's just the kind of character I am, because nothing can pay me enough money to sell out the bones of my people or sell out the natural habitat of that valley. And that's how I feel about this whole territory, actually. All the way to the Colorado River, and that's our people's stomping ground. I think Billy's been more on deck, and this guy knows all the information of their sneakiness and everything, but he got money again, and from what Bill was saying, there's enough to go around. I think with us people that believe in protection of land, or Mother Earth, this is a good fight. This actually is. And I don't know if you want to talk about any kind of details about it.
Yeah, thank you for that, because it might be the first time some folks are hearing about this. And how many folks are interested in knowing what you could do? Is there, what would the actions be, like step by step, that folks can do?
Right, well, the county kind of is guiding that, because it has to go through the process again, all over again, for the third time, actually.
Can I interrupt you and ask a question?
Sure.
Can the county stop this?
The county can stop this, but they have to vote, and that's where we come in, because
Okay.
we need to influence
There you go.
county reps.
Yep,
That's really our goal here,
okay.
and importantly also, as well as influence people like you, that care about the earth. They're really destroying the earth really bad. This is a monstrous project, bigger than any sand mining project that's ever happened anywhere in our backyard. It's happening. We're not NIMBYs. We just care about our land, way of life, culture, everything that Bobby said. That they came from there. They use this valley, and we're trying to protect the land for them. Well, if I had it my way, I'd take down the dam and give you all that land back. If it was up to me. But we need to influence as many people as we can to get on board to help us, fight this monster sand mine. I have that platform. When the time comes, we'll share the platform when we begin to share information is what we have to do.
So folks that are here tonight and you've signed in, and ICEJ is supporting this, and we'll do everything that we can. So you'll know what to do, where to show up, who to lobby, who to talk to. If you know people who are in the immediate area, you know who your county supervisor is, so you don't. Okay, we'll help you to learn who your county supervisor is. We can help you do that, because that's where the influence is going to lie, right? That we go to our county supervisors, and then we all show up, right? At County Board of Supervisors meetings, okay? And we all talk, for 2 minutes.
A number of people who signed in did check that off.
Okay,
So-
number.
And that was not knowing a lot of information, so that's
Great.
pretty cool.
So what Diane said is a number of you who signed in already checked off that you want to be on that list. And if after hearing this and you didn't check that off, you can go on over there and just make that little check mark. And so we can make sure that we do everything that we can. Okay?
And
Yeah.
I think it's very important that a younger person would say something about how they feel about the valley, because I'm from a different generation.
Well, like Billy shared, I learned from my dad and elders before us that we did use the San Diego River as kind of a guideline to get to the ocean and back. We were a people that moved around San Diego, and from my family, we were one of the families that were in Capitan all the time, which is where the dam now is, and that area is dammed up between Barona and Viejas, but that's where my family came from. And so I know from my dad's stories and his dad's stories and great-grandfather that our people really lived on the water and used the water, and even sometimes buried our people that we've lost at the riverbed and in different areas. So there's really a concern for me is not only like the valley fever that's there, but also that in the process of getting sand, you're going to be excavating my ancestors, and maybe not even mine, but maybe my cousins from Viejas, like maybe different tribes that were just so happen to be in the area at that time. And so I think one thing about our culture is that we never disrupt those who have passed on. And so what's scary to me is to know that when there's construction or things happening and they see something like a pottery or an urn, they're gonna hide that. They're not gonna acknowledge that we were there or that our ancestors are there, and then our people aren't important. We're just dust at that point. So the concern for me is that if there are remains there, which there more than likely is, that they're just gonna be tossed aside and that we wouldn't actually know that they're there. Then that just goes back into preserving the people and leaving the ancestors to rest where they are. They were laid there for a reason, and that's where they should remain.
Yeah, awesome. And it's always good to even the little ones, they can just tell you how it is, really, with no filter, really. But thank you, Sarah. And that is so true, because we do know folks that probably find a femur or a skull and just kind of put it to the side, and there are people known for that too. I think a plan of action would be something along the lines of focusing on getting something going in Lakeside with all the people that will be affected, establishing little groups that could work on seeing if they submitted EIR, whatever, another group to maybe find tasks to where they can notify each county board of supervisor that, hey, this isn't cool. And we all know these guys. I mean, we've been in front of them before, but the more political power we have, and we got to know who's going out and who's possibly coming in and all these kind of things, they're very powerful things to think about, and every time we do a movement, plan of action, these are things we have to do. But I think once the EIR finally comes in, we need to tear it up. We really need to put our minds together and figure out how we can destroy it. I'm being frank.
Thank you for that. Oh, let's take a breath. breathe all that in and know that we're with you. I may not live in this area anymore, but this area lives in me. We were going to take some questions. Does that feel okay? Does it feel, let me check in with our folks. Does it feel okay to take some questions now? Does that sound good? And then,
Depends.
yeah, and then we want to make sure that there's time for some last word, okay? Yeah. This is Diane Lopez.
Yes.
Hughes. Diane Lopez Hughes.
So if anybody has a question, that's.
Hi. So you seem like you've all done a lot of organizing and like community organizing, and I think that's incredible. And I know that it is also incredibly difficult to get people to work together and unite and like tackle a project and a cause. And I was wondering if you have like tips or what's the word I use? Practices for how you communicate with and organize within your community that then we can take to our communities and help, you know, spread the word here and like, you know, other types of organizing as well. How do you talk to people? What's the best way that you connect with people to get them to care about things that you care about?
Want to go down the line and go this
Okay.
way?
My way, I use social media, and I think I've been building on this my entire life, so people can see the love for the land, and they jump on board. So I use that platform to distribute flyers, wherever we're going to have a rally, information goes out through my platform. That's how I do it. I have two actually, Billy Lakeside Ortiz. That's my main one. Then the public platform that I made is Lakeside East County Group. It has 33,000 members. That's my 5,000. So we got a big group, plus people that aren't members that they come there for information. They're always waiting for me to. And we're really lucky out there because a lot of people there care about the land. So it's not really that hard to get people on board. We had like over 500 people at the county meeting in Lakeside at the community center, the majority being from Lakeside. So from there, it branched out and it just took off like a wildfire. And that's how we had the success in stopping it this last time.
For me, I've had a number of friends that are very good, you know, that spearheading an organization or, you know, I myself, I love a good protest, and so for myself, I am more of a supporter. I'll always go and support and just show up. And I think that the best thing for any organization is to find people like me that are willing to be there and to support. And one of the ways that I'm always looking at those things is through social media. I am a follower. So, yeah.
Oh man, being a ground soldier is good. And that's like how I like to think of myself as just like a helper. But to anything to work, the people have to be like-minded. And another key thing is, let's say Allie has something going on and I'm free, I've got to show up. Got to show up and show that I care. And if I can't, we all can't make everything. But, supporting others with the same vision and the like-mindedness and the caring, it does carry weight. You get a group of people together and, there's always a little something going on, but, sometimes I like to think, just let them work it out, because they can fix it themselves, and maybe their little ego, and there's one of those egos in everybody's head, every single one of us. But they just need to put it down and just work side by side and refreshing themselves on what their end goal is.
Thanks for that.
Are there other questions? Yeah, over here.
Thank you. Sorry, I can't see all of you. So my name is Tisha G. Martin. I'm the Climate Community Director at San Diego Urban Sustainability Coalition. It's good to see you again. And I wanted to say that, number one, I appreciate you just coming actually to just mention about not only your culture, but something that we can now do to actually help with it. And number one, just hear about something that you know you're pushing for because you can see the detriments that will come from that. Being born and raised in Southeast San Diego, right, we had the floods here. We had been talking and talking and talking about our sewage system. So it's not a natural disaster that caused a problem, it was a negligence disaster. So to hear about what may be happening in the valley is not a natural disaster when things the foundation's no longer there, right, and things start crumbling in chaos because it was a negligence disaster, something that could have been prevented had they have listened. So we definitely want to make sure that I already checked. I'm gonna appreciate also the visual. I can kind of see it of how it's like fracking but with sand, which I've never heard before. So I appreciate I learned something new today, which I love to do every day. So I appreciate that. But I know that the other thing is you said that how you thought somebody was good, something that you were doing something to help, like with River, and damn it, when that happened. I don't know if anybody else here, but I know it's happened to me several times where you think someone's on your side and the team and we're actually in collaboration and there was an underhanded agenda that comes out unexpectedly. So when we're hoping to put it into the council, or especially with the county, I'm doing a lot in the city, just being in here, but the county too, and I live in East County. So hearing about this Valley Fear, I'm like, wait a minute, what? And I've never heard of it, and I live out there. I play at sportsplex for softball at Santee. We're out there, we're playing sports, being athletics, breathing. I can't even imagine what that would be now that this comes to this. So have you thought about when we can't depend on the county, just in case, about it being on the November election ballot? Because when it comes to the election, a lot of times what you vote for is what's in your county, what's in your part of the county. So we don't have to worry about people voting in La Jolla, right, about what's happening in East County if you're on the ballot in a certain way. And if you haven't, I'd love to have a conversation on that. But just as the backup, and I don't know the dates of when the county's supposed to be making their vote. I don't know the dates of when things are supposed to be beginning. But if it's not until November, I think it'd be great to have that as let's start putting maybe a campaign a little bit to the side. You definitely are leading it because you're the experts in it, but if we can help at all in pushing that forward, please let me know, because I think that may be able to help to make sure that everybody in the county knows, because again, I had no idea, and I wouldn't say raise your hands if you didn't know, but it's something brand new to me, and I just appreciate it. I think everybody, especially that lives out there, would want to know. But again, being out here, it's important to make sure that everybody cares. Right, I'm doing things in communities of concern out here. I'm in one that's in city, but I got to go to Coronado to say, hey, you should care about what's happening in Barrio Logan because that water doesn't know to stay there. Right, we're in Imperial Beach. We can't even go surfing right now because Tijuana, right, it's taken over. Right, air is the same way. There is no discrimination between all will get in. If it goes to one, it can go to the rest of us. So it's a way to definitely care. So again, if I can help in any way, I would love to. As a mother, I appreciate you. Girl, you were strong. You said you were, but I think it's some amazing things, and again, I really resonated with it, so I appreciate you.
I think we have time probably for one more, and then we can close out. Diane, I see a hand over, all right, maybe we'll do two, because I saw two hands.
Good evening, my name is Elida Chavez, and I live here. And first of all, thank you for bringing the land acknowledgement to the city, because I've been fighting for this for a long time too. We have the same situation with the open lands that are left here on 47th and Federal. That's the only open land that we have here left in our community. But going back to the EIR, that's where we're at right now. And the Chollas Creek Coalition has many members that are protecting the earth. So I think that your group should connect with them because they have a great constituency going on at this particular time. And we're all about saving the earth. So I will be happy to provide the information. Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. One more person over there. Let's let that be the last, and then we'll
Hi, my name is Millie Morales. I'm an organizer with an organization called Mothers Up Front. Obviously want to lend you any support as needed, but I had a question. I've been reading a lot about alternatives to losing. I was just on a call yesterday with someone who's got pretty much the same battle, but it's with Dominion in Chesterfield, Virginia. and strategizing, if we don't have the power and if the board ultimately has, kickbacks or other interests other than their constituency's interests, what do we do? And I like to lose. And I have been in climate justice for a long time, and I've seen a lot of the same cycles repeating. And one of the things that I've been learning about that I thought was really interesting was rights of nature work. And I learned of that through the Seattle Tribe's lawsuit on behalf of the rights of the salmon against Seattle City Lake. And I'm curious if you felt like there was a possibility that by connecting these multitudinous issues together, that we could build the kind of base where we can do a ballot initiative, for example, where we're actually giving rights to nature like we give rights to corporations.
Yes, the Pomos had declared a water, and I forget what water source it was, but a living thing. And that's something down the road for me too that I've been thinking about for a long time. But alternatives to losing. So we drained the guy out of money the first time, and I think we're gonna do it again if we can all stand solid and come up with a game plan. I like put it on the ballot. May it be a little bit risky, of course, but with the right help and pushing it out there with orgs, I think we can accomplish anything we want to, actually.
Pass it to Sarah. Any closing remarks that you'd like to make, Sarah?
I just wanted to thank you all for coming and thank you all for listening to what we have to say and taking time out of your evening to be here and be supportive and showing up. That's really important, and I'm so thankful for that.
Yes, I'd like to thank you too for giving us a listening ear, especially about the valley. Very important to all of us, I believe. Thank you.
Valley fever is real, you guys. And once they start demolishing and tearing up that valley, and we get a Santa Ana, you can guarantee anything with lungs that gets the spores in them is gonna catch it. So it's a scary deal, and that's the truth. With everybody's help, we can beat these guys again. I think that's enough for right now. You guys are interested, all these guys have my numbers, some of you guys with groups have my number. We can strategize, just do it again like we did before.
And what were the last words? What would you like to leave us with? What are the wise words that you would each like to leave us with? No pressure.
You didn't say that before.
I didn't, but is that okay?
True words. I appreciate seeing all you guys here. I really do love all humans. I love everything. And I hope we all can get through this time in history safe and sound and live more than 3 or 4 more generations. So thank you.
Thank you, Bobby and Sarah and Billy. Thanks to all of you for being here. Yusuf Miller is going to give us a closing.
Thank you, everyone for being on the panel. Thank you, Beth, for moderation. I'll stand back here. I don't like to stand in front of people like that. My name is Yusuf Miller. I'm the co-chair of ICEJ, Interfaith Coalition for Earth Justice. And I want to thank our presenters for being here on the panel. Let's give them another round of applause. We want to thank our moderator, all the way from Illinois, to come here. And what a wonderful facility. What a wonderful facility that we can have this in. I'm so glad they built this right across from Malcolm X Library, where we used to have a lot of our events and people from the community. And now we have this wonderful facility, and let's make most of the use of it, that we have it. So I want to let you guys know that this is only the first of several in a series that we're going to be doing with our Indigenous brothers and sisters. So when we look for you to come back and see your faces that's familiar, please show up. Please come back. There are going to be more things that we can do. There are a lot of things that we need engagement in. And I have a saying that I normally say when we have issues such as important as this, which is, do not pat yourself on the back today until you see what you do tomorrow. So we want you to show up, and we want you to be here next time. A few announcements. One is that we, of course, are doing this again. And this is a series that we're all going to be involved in. But also, at the end of this month, not at the end of this month, in August, there is the Interfaith Coalition that we bring interfaith awareness throughout the county. This is an interfaith coalition. We bring people of faith from all traditions together, and we let each other know that there's a guiding principle in all our traditions, no matter what it is, to be stewards of the earth. And even if you have no central tradition, you still should have faith in yourself and faith in humanity. It's hard, I know, to keep faith in humanity. I believe that if aliens came down and they looked for the intelligent species, they probably check for a cat or a dog. They wouldn't check for any of us. Yes, a cat, okay, and the dog, people say it'll be a dog. We look at each other, and we despise one another for the color of our skin, the shape of our lips, and the texture of our hair. It's not intelligent. We commit suicide every day. We drink water, we poison our water. And we need it to drink. We poison our air, we need air to breathe. We're not the intelligent species here. So they might look over us because of all the self-destructive, suicidal things that we do. But we have programs. The Interfaith Coalition of Earth Justice welcomes you and invites you to continue along with us as we develop these programs and to join us. The Poway Interfaith team has the Interfaith Awareness Week, the second week of August. People from all faith traditions can come, and we as ICEJ go on the calendar to talk about earth justice from a spiritual standpoint, a religious standpoint, to let everyone know that all faith traditions are welcome in this fight. It's not just a secular fight. We're in it together. We're all one family. And lastly, I'll say that October 5th is Eco Fair. Hope to see you there at the Eco Fair. And it'll be an Eco Fair in the town hall. And we will be working that fair. We will be having information tables. And we will definitely love to see you and your community. Please spread the word. Join us on our Facebook. Join us in our online presence. And make sure that you're getting the word as it comes out, and share that word. We have to come together. We can ask questions here today. We can throw out ideas, but we need your participation as much. I'm sure Bobby's had that idea, you've had that idea, you've had that idea, we've had those ideas before, but what we don't have is a consistent human base. Please join us and swell our ranks. Thank you for being here. My name is Yusef Miller. I'm the co-chair of ICEJ.